In the early 1950s, ABC had one of the biggest hits on television, and that was The Lone Ranger. The series starred Clayton Moore in the title role and Jay Silverheels as his Indian companion, Tonto. Now, The Lone Ranger was a popular radio show in the 30s and 40s. And one of the most common things that we remember from this television show was the Lone Ranger saying, "Hi-yo, Silver." And that actually came from a recording that was done by Earl W. Grazer on the radio show. Now, we hear that at the beginning of every start to an episode on the television show. Now, the television show was so popular in the early 50s for ABC that there was a short period of time that they ran it on Friday nights for those who missed it earlier on Thursday at the 7:30 broadcast. All of the seasons were done in black and white, except for the 5th season that was shot in color. Along with the popularity of the show with younger audiences, came the bubblegum trading cards that featured colored scenes from several installments of the series. This was widely popular among the younger viewers during that time frame. Now, one unique thing about The Lone Ranger was the way that ABC televised it. They offered 4 seasons of a new episode each week for at least a year without a rerun. From 1949 to 1951, the first 78 episodes were aired, and then they were rerun in the same order for the subsequent seasons, beginning on September of 1952 and September of 1954 and September of 1956. The same format was followed, with 52 consecutive new episodes aired, and then they were rerun in the following 12-month period. The younger viewers would have to wait until the same time next year, often coinciding with their school year or summer vacation, to see a rerun of their favorite or missed episode. The budget for the series was $12,000 per episode, and that was from 1949 to 1954. Then it increased to $18,000 per episode from 1954 on. At one time, there was speculation that surfaced that the Lone Ranger was inspired by a U.S. Marshal named Bass Reeves, who worked in the Oklahoma Territory. Because this area was largely Indian reservations, therefore it was sovereign territory, the marshals had to be accompanied by Native Americans, and this is where the inspiration for the character of Tonto came from. Despite a sterling reputation for maintaining law and order, even if it meant arresting his own son, Reeves was eventually driven from office. Unlike in the television show, the real Bass Reeves was black. Now, this whole story turns out to be a myth, along with other speculative suggestions for the character's origin. These things were eventually all debunked by re-examining the records of the Detroit radio station where the Lone Ranger radio show actually originated from. Now, I think it's kind of funny that in Spanish, the name Tonto actually means fool or stupid or dumb. Now, I don't speak Spanish, so I'm just going on what I've researched and found. And that's why when they released the dub version to be distributed to Spanish-speaking countries, the character's name was actually changed to Toro, which means bull. When they created the Lone Ranger character, they set up several guidelines to describe his personality and his behavior. They always wanted him to have the mask on, and he was never supposed to be seen without it. He was supposed to use perfect grammar, avoid slang, and he was supposed to never refer to himself as the Lone Ranger. Instead, he was to present a silver bullet if anyone questioned who he was. He also would never be seen smoking or drinking. When he appeared in a saloon scene, it was often a cafe with waiters and food instead of bartenders and alcohol. They also did their best to make his criminal adversaries look poorly in the light of the audiences. They wanted these characters to not be wealthy or glamorous. The writers didn't want any of the listeners, viewers, or readers to admire these type of people. One of the most memorable things about the Lone Ranger is the theme music. The song happens to be the March of the Swiss Soldiers, which is the finale of the William Tell Overture. Because of the TV show, the song is one of the most recognizable pieces of classical music that there is. Now, Clayton Moore wasn't just acting when he portrayed the Lone Ranger. He actually lived this character even outside the TV series. He took the role to heart and became inseparable with the character. In 2006, he was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame with his character's name next to his own on the star. It says Clayton Moore the Lone Ranger. In 1958, after the series ended, he started making personal appearances as the famous character. He appeared on TV shows, commercials, and things like that, wearing the signature mask. His co-star, Jay Silverheels, would appear with him sometimes occasionally. In 1979, the owner of the Lone Ranger character, Jack Rather, sued Moore so he could no longer make appearances as the Lone Ranger. Moore actually countersued, and Rather eventually dropped the lawsuit in 1984. Now, in the third season, an entire 52 episodes, Clayton Moore was not in the series. They actually hired John Hart to replace him. This created a poor reception with viewers. Now, it's been really debated on what caused this contractual dispute or exactly what happened. It's thought that Clayton Moore wanted more money, but the studio never really said what happened. And Clayton Moore always said that he had no clue what happened. I think he probably did know, and I think it probably was a contractual thing where he wanted more money. The studio saw that they had made a mistake by hiring John Hart, and they quickly settled with Clayton Moore and got him back in the saddle. Now, when he first started in Hollywood, Jay Silverheels was billed as Harold Smith, or Harry Smith. He used this name when he played lacrosse. He was actually a really good lacrosse player. He initially started in low-budget features and westerns, and then he hit the jackpot with the Lone Ranger and became known to everybody. After the show ended, he had trouble finding other roles because he was basically typecast as a Native American. He actually went on to become some type of salesman, and he bred and raced horses as a hobby. He and his wife had 4 daughters and 1 son, and he died at the age of 67 in 1980 due to complications from a stroke. We got to look back and think about the fond memories that this television show brings about. The Lone Ranger was a classic and popular series when I was growing up, and I still love watching it today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.